All right, first real ISC of the year, Inside Star Citizen, titled Content Driven. So this isn't even about the lore, I don't think. Maybe they'll touch on the lore a little bit. I thought this was going to be all about the lore of the Fight for Pyro stuff, but maybe not. So it's titled Content Driven, so it's probably going to explain what they mean by content for people who are somewhat confused. I'm a little bit. I feel like I have to ask the question every once in a while. Like, is this content or is this a feature?
If you watched last week's 3-hour special edition of Star Citizen Live, you heard a lot about the evolution of this year's patches, how often they're going to come out, and how our shows are changing to reflect that. And if you didn't, well, I'm not really going to recap all that here. But this week, we sat down with some of the non-feature folk to talk about the content-driven side of this new initiative.
I'm looking forward to this. This will really help, I think. I think this will help me, and I think this will help a lot of people understand what to expect this year. Very good first episode of the year. That's a new skin. Oh, yes, that's definitely a new skin.
Where did this idea of a content-driven push come from?
Well, as we sort of alluded to in the 1.0 presentation at CitizenCon, there's been a desire to get more emphasis on starting to build the storylines and the characters of Star Citizen Universe and getting them actually in game.
The way the content patches are going to break down are we're ultimately trying to provide new content to you each month. Alongside all of this, we're going to be essentially providing new missions, new events, kind of a lot of what we've done before, but taking it up to the next level.
This was an opportunity to start figuring out ways to engage the players in.
Have you felt like they've brought it to the next level yet? I think the only time that I felt like they had brought it to the next level was these cave locations in Phase 3. But I thought that was like, oh, that was cool. But then that was it. Like, it was only cool the first time I went there, right?
And a growing and expanding storyline.
We're going to be sending you all the way around the verse, doing lots of different varied types of gameplay. You'll still be doing events that are prevalent to a story that we're going to be working on as well.
I got you covered!
As well as new missions that build up the...
That was Save Stanton. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, like, we're not seeing some new mission here. I don't think this is new. It looks like the cargo retrieval mission from Save Stanton. So,
missions that build up the existing roster that we actually have in game already. There will be some content that is only there for a limited amount of time, but ultimately a lot of this content is still going to persist when we hit to Star Citizen 1.0. So we're actually building out the larger content map that exists in the game. On top of that, there's going to be a huge focus now on stability and quality of life too, because we want a stable environment for our developers to work in, but we also want a stable game that's less buggy, less crashes.
Of course.
And much more pleasant for you guys to play day to day.
What's the word? Today's been rough.
As far as the structure for how we're going to tell the story, one of the things that we were kind of excited to try for it was actually utilizing a storytelling structure that's usually used in TV shows. Basically, there's usually an A story and a B story that happen within a single episode. If you're Seinfeld, you have a C story as well, because they're just that good. But there's the A story is sort of your primary story, your B story is sort of a supplemental ancillary story that sometimes can feed into it, but sometimes can be standalone. And it's just a way to kind of keep the scenes dynamic and kind of make them feel.
Yeah, the difference is those are television shows that you watch. We have to read these in a Moby Glass or in our journal, which is hidden behind like multiple buttons.
Alive. So what we're trying to do is actually utilize kind of a similar thing, but stretched out over a longer period of time. And the idea being that, A, it makes the universe feel bigger. So there's not just one thing happening that's consuming the entire universe. But also, if you're not interested in the A story, if for whatever reason it's not engaging you, you have something else that you can kind of do. So the idea is that hopefully that one of the two stories, hopefully both, but if not, one of the two stories will be fun.
I think the B-roll they chose there is like, you could go the PvP route or you can go the PvE route for the supply or die side.
And exciting and kind of offer a new insight to the Star Citizen universe. Currently, the plan is actually that the A story, we've already started it, and is actually going to be
First time chatter Pepperoni says story should be created by the players, focus on facilitating player interactions and engagements. While I agree with you like 1,000,000%, I think the best stories will be told by the players. I mean, just look at a game like EVE Online. EVE Online has a overarching story that goes on in its PvE environments as well.
Be going through September, and then the B story is a little bit smaller, but it starts basically in April and goes on. So it's a multi-month thing. So it goes on until about October. Once this A story and B story kind of resolve themselves, we have a new A story that starts up and a new B story. So we sort of bounce back and forth.
Okay.
So some months we'll have
I'm gonna
more B
re-listen to that. Sounds like he said this is going on until October because CitizenCon.
in April and goes on. So it's a we've already started it, and is actually going to be going through September. And then the B story is a little bit smaller, but it starts basically in April and goes on. So it's a multi-month thing. So it goes on until about October. Once this A story and B story kind of resolve themselves, we have a new A story that starts up. And
that's true. He didn't say October. What year? Very true.
New B story, so we sort of bounce back and forth. So some months we'll have more B story than A story. Some other months we'll have more A story than B story.
So time gated, yeah. Like I saw somebody in chat earlier. Like it would be nice if I got to replay the missions and replay the story. I don't think that makes games feel alive. I think that makes them feel like you're not a part of it.
But it gives us a way to kind of, again, pull in a lot of different facets of the universe, whether it's gameplay, mission types, ships, and not have to figure out one overarching narrative that somehow encapsulates everything.
This doesn't replace that big storyline that we talked about at CitizenCon.
No, this doesn't replace that. The 1.0 story. Yeah,
I mean, I think it supplements it with the mission types that they might need for that story, but that's about it.
But it is actually kind of offering an exciting opportunity to kind of lay the groundwork for that type of storytelling in the game.
Well, I'm just going to say, okay, they're going to go with the story so far. I think I'll make my point then. I'm really disappointed in the way they've told the story so far, because the story was really good. And they told it really shitly. Because I didn't even know it was there.
It spans over a few months, and it is all about a gang that has invaded Stanton. And it's not one of the usual ones either. It's not one of the usual
we never
suspects.
heard of them before.
So this started in 324, where we made this narrative journey that
probably didn't work because you made it. No.
Players will go on.
The big story beat was that there was a new outlaw pack sort of showed up in Stanton's system and was wreaking havoc. They were known as the Slicers, and were launching basically devastating attacks against the local population.
Targeting cargo ships, stealing cargo, targeting different locations around Stanton, such as UGFs and outposts, inhabiting them, and also going around stealing sensitive data that the CDF do not want them to have.
The CDF had got all of the players to come and help. After the players sort of stopped them from doing that, the Slicers had showed their power and showed what they was really about and brought in an Idris that players had to try and reclaim off of them.
Guys, what do you think told a better story, Save Stanton or Fight for Pyro? That's the first thing I would ask.
The viciousness of the attacks and the sort of unprovoked aspect of it is just sort of highlighting effectively.
You can't say neither, one or the other.
What the problem is with Pyro is that you have this sort of lawless haven for outlaws right next door to Stanton, and basically they have the freedom to kind of come and attack when they want to.
So these people just...
I think Save Stanton was very clear what was going on. Just like they explained it, these people are coming in, they're attacking, and you have to defend them. It's a very small story, but the story was being told, and I was able to understand what was going on. Was that the same case for Fight for Pyro? I didn't feel that way.
Lived in a hole and decided to come to another place and make it a hole.
Some people just love chaos.
Also, like, to show this mission that they're showing right now as in, like, it's epic or something, this was the most broken pile of garbage and just the most poorly done mission I've ever played in this game. This was brutal. Like, look, they had to make the cut Because they couldn't kill it with the torpedoes because they probably ran out.
With 401, the player will find themselves in Pyro, ready to defend it or attack it. Depending on which one you have chosen, you'll be locked into that faction. So you can choose the Citizens for Prosperity, the Headhunters, or the Frontier Fighters. If you're working for the Citizens of Prosperity, you're doing more aid work.
At least at the start.
You're there to help people. You're not really doing much combat work. They're trying to make sure everyone survives this by passing out food, water, medical supplies.
They're basically like, we believe that there's good in this system.
You got given Headhunters rewards even though you were CFPs? Send in a ticket. I saw something this morning that said that they were having, like, some people aren't even getting the rewards, which is just a classic.
Certainly bad elements, but you're just going to exacerbate the problem by trying to solve it with violence.
And the Headhunters are an old-time gang who've lived there for a long time. They know the land, they know the rules, and they're unhappy that these rules are being crossed.
Headhunters would want you in their group because they kick ass and they're fun to hang out with.
So they're on the offensive. They're here and they're going, you're not attacking our home. They're basically going to be just trying to kill the Frontier Fighters. And the Frontier Fighters want everybody dead. They're going nuclear Earth. You will be killing civilians. You will be killing Headhunters. You'll be killing Xenothreat. They don't care who. If you are in Pyro and you're not them, you're dead.
What's up the Frontier Fighters' ass?
A lot of explosives.
They're perfect for someone like the Darklaw. I don't know what that says about him.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
Frontier Fighters is basically justice for Stanton.
They just want to live life in Stanton without being interrupted every 5 seconds. They want to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Are you being honest about the Frontier Fighters right now?
No. The Citizens for Prosperity have seemingly found something out, but they're not telling you as an operative exactly what. They are sending you to defend their...
And that's the part that, like I mentioned in Weekend Review, the Frontier Fighters are wearing a certain type of armor that we saw during Save Stanton. And it was just like, oh, they must have made a mistake.
Data runners, and they're trying to get them out of Pyro.
Can you still play Phase 1 in like 3 weeks? 3 weeks might be pushing it.
And they're asking you to go on the offensive now and attack the Frontier Fighters. Which isn't usual for the...
Plot twist literally happens in a sticky forum post. No, it doesn't. It happens in a journal entry in your game after you complete Phase 2.
CFP.
Or Phase 1. Phase 2. Phase 2.
They're trying to be more of a peaceful group in this operation, but now they're not. And the Frontier Fighters are aware of this data that the CFP have. They have reported that they think it's to do with their attack plan on Pyro. So they're...
If this was voice acted, 10 out of 10.
Asking their operatives to...
Because the story's actually good.
Take out the data runners that the CFP are trying to get out.
I'll cover you.
And also destroy any CFP-controlled servers to make sure that the data is gone and lost for good.
And the Headhunters?
Headhunters, again, carrying on their violent approach of sustaining their locations, reclaiming their locations. Where Frontier Fighters might have set up, they will go back in and explode every material that they had so they can get their outpost back. At the end of all this, you'll learn things.
You might learn a few things about the intentions of each of those factions. You might learn something more about yourself and what moral choices you decided to make.
But we know you
ways that was.
This is why it was bad. We learned that we chose to go down a route we didn't want to go because we didn't have any information. I think that kind of pissed people off. It pissed me off.
The designers got clear. At the end of this chapter, this leaves us with the truth of what was really happening and sets the stage for something more to come.
but you do get to reset. So if you went Frontier Fighters, you don't have to stay that way.
The story doesn't end here.
I'll keep them occupied.
The way that this story ultimately is intending to play out, there are actually going to be real ramifications based on the group community choices that are made. So that will actually change the direction of the universe.
I think we'll see who gets, so supply or die sounds like whoever gets the most supplied is going to kind of seize control over the system a little bit. The problem is I don't know what the rewards are. And you're choosing who gets to supply and who gets to die based off of rewards instead of what your style of gameplay is, maybe. This is a very tiny gripe. I don't care how it plays out. I'll live in whatever world the game decides that we want to play in. But just a tiny gripe with that is I think we're going into supply or die with a lot more information than we went into Fight for Pyro. But yeah, I think most people are going to make their choices based on the rewards, which I'm glad we don't know what they are just yet.
Either go one way or can go the other way. So we're actually going to be playing around a lot with ways that players can decide how they want the universe to change. So moving forward, there's going to be a bit of a twist that comes down the road, which is going to escalate basically the situation into one of our first big events. With this, it basically allows us to plan out a bit more and actually, again, start to build a growing narrative,
giving players more of a reason to engage and be able to talk to each other and like, hey, where did you get that item from? Oh, well, I was here when this happened. I was here when this happened.
Yes. And I can't explain to you how important that is in long-standing, years-long MMOs. These unique items that came in a small window that never will come again are super, super cool to have. You can buy them from players, right? You can buy them from players. But to only have those forever is cool. Now, I think CIG is going a different direction. I thought that's what this ISC was going to be, that it was going to be the one about unique item recovery. Looking back, I think Jared said that he was going to record it with Declan soon. It wasn't actually ready. So I think we'll hear about it soon. But I think we're going to go down the route where, like, I did this so I can craft those things for people, potentially. We'll see what happens with it, but I'm very curious what route they end up going long term. But I love the idea of I was there. You ever watch Twitch chat 10 years ago, 5 years, well, maybe like 7 years ago? Whenever something cool happened in a popular streamer's chat, it was, I was there, feel strong, man, right? And like, it was like, I was here in this moment when it happened. Those are cool things. Those are the memorable things that happen. Or yeah, oh yeah, like Pago or Pog you or whatever, I was there. Like that's cool, right?
Findable points in our universe's history.
Those are the memorable things
It
in
adds
MMOs.
to the universe, it adds to the story of it all, and it means that you as a player help build this world out.
So I'm really excited about the changes coming in. It's going to allow us to get more fun content in your hands more often, and it's going to provide a much more stable environment for us.
They just got to tell the story a little bit better. Like, I don't know what it's going to take to get voice acting in, but if that's not a Joker card right now, if this is your focus for the year, we got to get things voice acted better. When I accept a mission, just tell me the story a little bit. Just tell me the story a little bit. I don't even care if they do cutscenes in the game. Just tell me the story. Because the problem is the layers I have to go through to even find out the story is a little excessive. So, yeah.
To work in, but also for you to play in as well.
Up until this point, we've actually been honing in on gameplay mechanics and more kind of under the hood stuff. We have a lot of data pads in the game to kind of do the heavy lifting for storytelling now. This is allowing us to kind of push on those other facets as a way to kind of be higher impact storytelling techniques.
Okay. I mean, they're saying that that's what they want to do more. All right.
So with a patch almost every month this year, building the narratives of the Stanton and Pyro systems with new content less reliant on big feature work, and packed between as many bug fixes and refinements as we can manage, we aim to deliver a progressive series of improvements in storytelling that will change life in the verse for the better.
We need faces for the different factions. Faces? They're trying to tell us their attitudes. I think that's enough. But do you feel their attitude enough? Maybe not that much just yet.
Throughout 2025. Oh, and last month, we launched a new bi-monthly Squadron 42 newsletter with exclusive video content, ringtones, wallpapers, and even merch. If you missed it, you can go to the Squadron 42 or account settings sections of the RSI website to opt in and not miss out on the next exclusive offerings. Or don't. I don't get any commission or anything. I just thought the stickers were neat. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game
Those posts are for some people. They're definitely not for me.
development with you.
Although the seeing the little sneak in the video was awesome.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks with a look at Alpha 402, Supply or Die.
Wait, what did he say?
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with a look at Alpha 402, Supply or Die.
All right. Well, there's your date. There's your date. You got 2 weeks to finish the current story, because Supply or Die will already be out by the time they tell the story. You have a timeline of when that patch is coming out. You got 2 weeks. I think that's very clear there. All right. I thought that was a good episode. I don't know how you guys feel about this kind of stuff. I thought that was good. We got the what we're doing, why we're doing it, a little bit of the story. What I'm most disappointed in is that I learned more about the story from this video than I have learned by playing the game. And I did all 3 factions, right? And I'm just not going to sit there and read the mission text. It's just not something I enjoy doing. A lot of people do that stuff, and good for you. I don't want to read the mission text. So I would love to just, the old days we had NPCs like yell at us and say things. And yeah, so I don't know. But guys, the guy with the chat, Younga Games, he's the guy who works on Prison. So everyone get mad at him. I'm glad you got a call out that you need a little bit of love and that it's not your fault. But yeah, everybody yell at him. He's the one right there. Get him. But that's where I'll leave this. I really enjoyed Save Stanton, Fight for Pyro. I know I'm going to enjoy Supply or Die. I know I'm going to enjoy those. There's just a tiny thing I would love to see changed. Just tell me the story more. I just be more in my face. That's what I want. More in my face. And I just missed a lot of the stuff. And I think it would make doing the repeatable missions less painful, because it was painful because you have to fight so many bugs, and it also got boring at times. So that's where I stand. And yeah. Is the current event soloable? Yes, absolutely. I never joined with anybody. I soloed all 3 factions. And 2 of them on alt accounts with just Aurora or Cutter. So yes, very soloable. But yeah, that's my only thing I would change, is just little video calls when I accept a mission, a voice plays, stuff like that. That's it. I thought it was a great video, great update. Wonder what we're going to get next week. Since now we know we're not getting an ISC, we'll probably get an SCL, maybe with the mission team. So we'll have to see. So maybe we can ask some questions, hear more about this next week, and that'll be cool. But all right, that's where we leave it.